I tighten my hold on the steering wheel and look through the windshield at Thendless Road. Ahead, the blacktop is covered in long shadows due to the low sun. My car sputters to a stop after jerking once and twice, fantastic in murmur, exhaling deeply. It was exactly what I needed. I stop the engine and pull over as far as I can like an cooperative old mule. The car sits there with my heart already pounding more quickly due to the nerves. I slapped steering wheel and frustration at this particular moment. Naturalith is no signal when I reach for my phone to call roadside assistance. I sighed, tucked the phone back in my purse before opening the door and stepping outside into the dry autumn air from somewhere. Down the road comes the subtlescent of pine trees squinting into Thenji. I lean over and pop the hood. My husband Phoenix always took care of things like this. So I know very little about cars, but I keep tapping on things and jiggling wires in the hopes of a miracle. Nothing. You must be joking with him. Under my breath, I complain. I'm irritated. I can't get rid of the sweat thoughts gnawing at me like a mosquito Anthon. I hear the low purr of an engine slowing down a sleek black truck. Polsto, a stop behind me. As I look up, I just stare. For a moment as the driver gets out, I would estimate that he is in his mid-20s, tall, broad-shouldered, and has messy, dark brown hair that falls across his forehead. His t-shirt fits his arms and chest just too snugly, and a slight stubble dusts his jawline, suggesting fecund of strength that comes only from manual labor. Do you need help? He dials straighten up and brush a stray hair out of my face as he speaks in a smooth, Andiacy voice with a faint smile on his lips. I say, trying not to sound too helpless. Yeah, my car just broke down on Moo, with his boots crunching on Thagravel. He approaches and looks under the hood. Do you mind if I look? I move as a dado, make space for him. He has a magnetocrossence. He moves in a way that conveys confidence without being arrogant, as Ife is an expert at what he is doing. Ismail, the strangely pleasant scent, often soap and motor oil, as he leans over his large, tough and strong hands. Begin to tinker with the wires and hoses as Ife had done it 1,000 times. My eyes howled beyond the car, but instead they stray to his forearm veins and the wazies. Muscles move under his skin while Hugh works observing a man perform a skill highs, skilled at with strength and purpose. Each movement is incredibly feeling. He looks up at me and smiles amiably. Looks like your alternator's saving you some trouble. He has warm hazel eyes that almost turn gold as they catch the last of the sunlight. I blink, surprised at how much I'm drawn in. Bites host eyes. Is that bad, huh? Struggling to maintain a steady voice, I asked. He makes a low, rumbling sound as he laughs. Noit's not too bad. You should bring a tummy shop soon. But I've patched it up in you to get you home. It will require a proper repair. Wiping his hands on a rag from his pocket, he straightens by the way. Adam extends his hand to me and I accept it. His palm feels rough and warm against mine, and his grip is firm but not too tight. I respond, thank you, Adam, with an odd flutter in my chest. Brianna, if you hadn't stopped, I'm not sure what he would have done. He gives me a smile. It melts my heart. He takes a card out of his wallet and hands it to me, saying, Gem, it's glad I was passing by. I'll get it operating like new. If you bring it in whenever you have time. I take a quick look at the card in my hand, which has the address and phone number of Zach's Auto Repair printed clearly across. Hesitant to let this encounter end for a moment. I say, you're a lifesaver, Van, though I'm trying to sound casual. Am I'd accept that offer at any time, Becca's. My heart is still racing. He's going back in his truck and driving off down the road, leaving me standing there with a fixed car and a weird buzzing urge under my skin. Brianna's Eislinger on mine for a little longer. Thanos necessary. And then there's a sudden intensity that I feel down to my bones. Porch light is on when I pull into her driveway, illuminating the front of the house with a cozy glow. When he sees them standing at the dooryard, Finnick's silver hair gleams in the sunlight and a gentle smile appears on his face. He says kindly, there, she is coming out to meet. I was beginning to question whether you got lost. My heart is still entangled with thoughts of the attractive Mechanichwo came to my rescue when my car broke down, but I return the smile as I get out off the driver's seat. I explained Butsomion stopped and fixed it for me. A Swenter Phoenix puts an arm around my waist and raises an eyebrow. Yes. Somyeon simply stopped and gave you that kind of face assistance. God must have sent that eye respond, placing my purse on the kitchen counter, if you will, the very pleasant Chong. Man gave me his card and said the alternator needed to be fixed some at Timoth's week. I'll probably take it to Astor. Phoenix motions for me to take Asiat at the dining table after pulling out a chair. That's great, but you'd better have it checked out before it leaves you stranded once more. Before he goes to the stove to see how dinner is going, he gives me a gentle shoulder squeeze. Phoenix has always been reliably a conside and steady. I adore that about Adam. But as we eat, my thoughts, Pete, returning to him, his powerful handshakes, effortless smile, and the way he mad and feels seen in a way I hadn't in a long time. Is there anything noteworthy? That a pan today, scooping some mashed potatoes onto his plate. Phoenix Basie's question. I hesitate. A fraction of Asakan too much. I shrug and say no trilly. The car thing alone, even as wello over dinner. I feel a weird dundercrent pulling at me, a lingering sense of something I can't quite put my finger on. He nods, satisfied with my response want. And we settle into a routine later that night. When we airling in bed, the room is completely dark save for the moonlight peeking in through the window. I can't help but think of Adam. A sudden surge of heat comes over me as I visualize his hands. How smoothly they moved over thin jean. I look at Phoenix, who is snoring quietly. And guilt niggles at the corner, said my mind. What's the matter with Mewith, a perfectly good man at my side? Why am I thinking about some young mechanici? I've no control over it, though. The thoughts come without warning, a silent thrill coursing through my veins that keeps me awake. And restless that following morning, long after Phoenix has fallen asleep, I can't help but linger over Adam's business card and run my fingers over the embossed lettering. Dinny, the card checked out won't hurt anything, right? Why does the mere thought of seeing him again make my heart race one? It would only be a minor fix like Asmal's secret waiting to be revealed quick, and the card is kept on the kitchen counter. I look at it every few minutes, while I clean the house, making excuses to spend more time at the counter than is necessary. I pick it apart last and dial the number. It rings twice before a smooth, familiar voice and swears before I can talk myself out. Au fait, this is Adam from Zach's Auto Repairy. Nearly hang up out of nervousness as me heart falters. Hey, it's Brianna Hero. Helped me with my car yesterday on the highway. I say, hoping my voice sounds relaxed and unhurried. Yes, I do recall you. He has a kind and amiable voice. How is the vehicle doing? I laugh a leaned respond. It's running, but you said it should. Bring it in. I was just curious. Weed. Time would be best with a hesitation, he says. If you'd like, you can come by. Right now we have a spot available. I didn't anticipate that, nor did I anticipate that the thought would make my heart skip a beat. I try not to sound too eager, but it works perfectly right now. I say fantastic. I'll see you shortly. Perhaps it's just my imagination, but Brianna's voice lingers in my ear for a moment longer than is necessary. Trip to the workshop goes smoothly, but every mile makes my stomach turn mature. Middle-aged woman, I feel ridiculous. I can't help but act like who has a crush on him. The thought of seeing him again is so nassing. I immediately recognize him as soon as I pull into the lot. His t-shirt's still as tight as it was the day before, and he is standing by a lift, wiping his hands on a rag. There are several other guys present, and each ones more attractive than the last. As I jet out of the car, he smiles and says there she is. I'm glad you can attend. Say I wouldn't miss it. And, I want to slap myself for sounding so flirtatious that appears to be oblivious. Or if he does it with ease. He opens the hood and starts working, saying, let's see what we got here. I watch him from a distance, trying not to show how much I like seeing him lean over the engine with those powerful arms flexing with each step. He works as if he were born to do this with ease and accuracy. A few minutes later, he stands up straight, and as is his rag to wipe his hands, he looks directly at me and says, it's going to take a bit more than I thought. most likely a day to sort everything out. I say, that's okay, no rush, maybe a bit too fast. He gestures for me to follow him into his office and says, come on, I'll show you what needs fixing. The office is mill, but tidy, with a few chairs against its wall and a desk piled high with papers. He picks up a notepad and begins writing down the list of repairs, occasionally looking up at me while we converse. What do you do then? Brian asks in a light-hearted manner. Not much these days, I admit, and he laughs a little. I am somewhat retired, he appears. I lean slightly on the desk and respond, that must be nice. Lots of free time, too much sometimes. He smiles at me sympathetically, but there's a glint of uncertainty in his eyes, as if Chem's not sure where this conversation is going. And, to be honest, neither am I. It gets lonely with those hands of yours, I say. I bet you keep busy, though, my voice dipping into a lower register. You must be very skilled with them, because you spend your days fixing things. I'm aware of how suggestive the words sound as soon as I say them. Adam stops writing, in the middle, his brow furrowing slightly as though he's trying to process what had just said. He chuckles to himself as Hesse's, oh yeah, I suppose you could, Sathit. I continue, encouraged by his slight uneasiness. Don't you think that a man with good hand skills has a certain quality? I smile as I tilt my head and watch him. His expression is a mix of confusion and amusement as he looks up at me. I suppose so, like static before a storm. The tension between us grows stronger. I know I shouldn't be him like this, but it's exciting in a way I haven't experienced in your sane way. I'll start working on the repairs right away, he says, clearing his throat and guiding the discussion back to more secure territory. It should be ready by tomorrow. I give him a smile that I hope is friendly and not something else, and I say, sounds perfect. My phone rings shortly after lunch the following day. I see Adam's name on the screen. My heart skips a beat once more. Hello, Adam. Brianna, your car is ready. Everything is fixed up and running smoothly. I sigh, attempting to sound casual. That's great, says, and I respond, I'll head over. No one. I get to the workshop. Adam is waiting by my car, still grinning easily, and he grabs my keys. Here she is, in perfect condition. With a wink, he says, it knocked a bit off the price since you were stranded when I found you. He takes him through everything he fixed it, explaining it in terms I hardly understand but can follow anyhow. Think of it as a rescue price. I look at Thebel and I'm astonished at how affordable it is. Adam, that's really kind of you. Thank you, he shrugs and says, just doing my job, but not going to let them get away with it. I tenderly thank him for going above and beyond by taking $50 from my wallet and slipping it into his hand. For you. He looks at the money with a furrowed brow. Obviously, Sir Presidu are not required to. I'd like to interrupted him, leaving my hand on his fur a fraction of a second longer than was necessary. Adam smiles sheepishly at him and puts the tip in his pocket. Thank you, Brianna. You're welcome. I feel the warmth of his body against mine as it drew closer, just a hair. So that I will know who to call if I ever have another breakdown once more. There it is. Hess scratches the back of his neck. Easily unsure of how to react to the flicker of something in his eyes, confused fusion amusement, perhaps even a hint of intrigue. As I stand there, an overwhelming urge strikes. I want more a casual conversation and long looks. I want a connection that ignites him. Something I haven't experienced in a long time. Despite the butterflies and mistamac, I say, Adam, is it possible for you to visit your office for a little while? Wanted to talk about the car in more detail. Swarm hazel eyes show a glimmer of curiosity. As he looks at my course, Brianna, my thoughts are scattered as we make our way to the office. I can't help but think about Myaspan Phoenix and our recent relationship. He's not a bad guy. It's just that something is lacking. I can recall the occasions when I attempted to elicit enthusiasm but received no response. No matter how much you turn decky, it simply won't start. Much like when you try to start a car with a dead battery. 'Tis, to put it mildly, frustrating. His body simply does intrigued. The same way it used to. But it's not like he doesn't care. No matter how hard I rev it, his engine just won't start, as if it's stalled. And Adam comes next. He is so unique, so vibrant, so energetic. His eyes simply light up when he talks about his passions. His hands are strong and self-assured, and his smile is effortless and sincere. His youthfulness is evident in every aspect. Teats, similar to contrasting a bright Hydrophinian seen with a faded, worn-out photograph. I can't help but feel a sense of longing to be near that kind of energy and vitality once more. It's difficult to ignore the difference, and even more difficult to avoid being drawn to. It's about feeling alive at work, not it's just about physical attraction. I sit down across from Adam, who sits behind the desk. I fold my legs, lean forward a little, and look around the room at the various parts and tools. I pick up Ashini wrench from the desk and sigh. You've got quite the collection here. I feel the weight of the cool metal as I run my fingers over it. You must be a blotto. Use all of these tools. Adam's neck begins to flush a little as he watches him. He's a little shy, but I can tell he's interested. I mean, it's adorable. Yeah, Hessie's his voice a little rougher than before. I've had a lot of practice. What about these screws? I put down the wrench and pick up a screw, rolling it between my fingers. I pose a suggestive question. Do you also know how to deal with them? What are you doing, Brianna? He laughed and rubbed the back of his neck. I just want to know, I interrupt. Him bending slightly closer to talk about how things work and how you make them work. He looks at me for a brief moment, and I notice a glimmer of understanding and a spark of fashion. He's picking it up quickly. Tall comes down to the proper touch and pressure. He says in a low voice. I grin as excitement shoots through my body. Show me, I say in a pure voice. After a brief pause, he reaches out and removes a screw from my grasp. I'm not watching screw. Instead, watching his strong, capable hands, and I'm visualizing theme on me as he rolls it between his own, demonstrating the delicate, pressurant, careful touch. I put my hand over his and reach out. He freezes, staring up at me in awe. His heartbeat is strong and steady, and it beats in time with mine. He exhales softly as he says my name, Brianna. I trace the lines of his palm with my fingertips and whisper simply accept. His eyes are fixed on mine. Ash blinks. His eyes show the struggle button. I see at the instant he gives in. Instant he chooses to let go. His fingers tangle in my hair as he leans in to close the distance between us. I've been waiting for this moment since we first met. I'm so engrossed in the moment that I hardly notice the door opening or his unexpected interruption of the outside world. I have to. Sorry, man. I'm sorry, Zach. We both start to breathe heavily as we separate. When I turned around, I saw another mechanic standing in the doorway, his eyes wide with surprise and his dark skin flushed with embarrassment. His warm brown eyes and crooked smile make him endearing. Andy Van, though the situation is awkward. I can't help but smile back. It's all right, say, I said in a steady voice. I can feel me heart pounding in my chest. We invite to join us. I can't believe I'm saying these things. I can't believe I'm doing this, but in some way it feels right. The words leave my mouth before I have time to think or second guess myself. It seems like what I want and need. He glances at me, and then Adamoyo gives me a slight nod while grinning. Little I'm John, he says as he enters office and shuts the door. Adam gets up, moves to the door, and lowers the shutter to keep the outside world out. No, it's just the three of us. JN takes a step forward and smiles at me. Extend my arm to grasp his hand in head, draws me in. His strength is similar totems in his steady, firm hands. I sense sight. I've never experienced it before. Dom's dark eyes watches his hands find me as he takes a step closer. They aerial around me, and it's euphoric. It's theorist of the world, everything I've been missing and everything I've been craving. It's just the two of us. We explore Oni Nather, moving in unison and harmonious for this one moment, and this one each of us participates in this lovely dance rhythm and song. Time flees by in a blur of feeling. It is more than he could have ever dreamed or hoped for. It's everything, but as the intensity of the moment wanes, reality begins to surface later as I pack my belongings. Sand Get ready to depart. I think about Phonics. And the life we've created, Teddiger and I get a twinge of regret and guilt. Adam smiles gently at me, weenie. Get to my car. John gives me a quiet nod, dubiously unsure of what to say. I put my hands on the steering wheel and put a hand to my mouth, choking. Back a sob that catches in my throat, something shy, almost boyish. What did I do after all this? How would I handle Phoenix, despite me belief that I had long since lost this feeling? I can't help but feel a strange, bitter satisfaction as I drive away from the workshop. Asterisk, if you've liked my video, then press the bell icon or subscribe my channel for more videos. Thanks all.